Hi, welcome back to Seriously Connected, a podcast for women in business, and welcome to part 2 of the Pro Talk Story Slam.
I want to talk about making waves. In July 5th, 2013, my parents have a 40-foot sailboat. Well, they had. They no longer sail anymore, but we were sailing from Bristol, Rhode Island to Newport, Rhode Island. So it's like the northern part of Narragansett Bay down to the southern part. Mind you, my parents are salty sailors. They've been sailing since before I was born, right? We know Narragansett Bay like the back of our hand, right? Some reason that particular day, we were coming from like the eastern side of the bay and we're coming down, and my sister happens to work at a place right on the shore. So we call her and we're like, hey, Kimmy, go out. We're going to say hi to you. So my dad's sailing the boat and we're going down the bay, and she's like, okay, I see the boat. And we're like, oh, this is so exciting. Slam! What the beep was that? Our boat slammed into a rock ledge. We have never, ever gotten into a boating accident in the 30 plus years I've been on the boat. My dad is a very safe sailor. He is very cautious with everything. Well, our boat was stuck. So I don't know if anybody's familiar with sailboats, but what they have is a keel, a real heavy lead keel underneath that goes down about 5.5 feet. We went up, so we were heeled over, sailboats heel over, and we went up a wave, and our keel hit a rock ledge underwater, and we were stuck on that ledge. On a caveat, I was pregnant with my second child, and I was like sticking out to here, and I had to call Mayday. So I'm on the VHS radio calling the U.S. Coast Guard. You know, U.S. Coast Guard, Mayday, Mayday. This is a sailing vessel Liberty. We need help. And so my husband's on the boat. My 3-year-old daughter was on the boat. My mom and my dad. And so it was just pure chaos, right? So the Coast Guard comes, and before they attend to my parents' boat, they go, you and you off, me and my daughter. So they left my husband and my dad, and my mom on the boat. They tried to get the boat off by getting some rope from the mast, which is like the vertical part of the boat. And that broke. And there was no way to get us off. There was this massive powerboat. And in Narragansett Bay, there are some powerboaters that are a little irresponsible with their wake. This particular one was irresponsible with his wake, but let me tell you, it was our saving grace, because when he came down the bay so fast and had such a huge wake, it lifted our boat just enough to get us off the ledge. But just trying to get us off, the rudder was broken. We had no steerage. We had to be towed in. And, some waves are bad, some waves are good, but they come when we need them, right? And, I felt worse for my dad's ego and it really like deflated him. But it happens. Accidents happen. You just need to know how to get out of them, right? But yeah, waves were fun.
That's so
crazy.
What did your sister do? She's watching all this from the shore? Or?
Yeah. So she was, I don't really know how far away she was from the shore. I don't remember like that distance. So she definitely saw us, and she saw us stop. And then, of course we had cell phones. So then, I call her. I'm like, Kimmy, we hit a rock. She's like, what are you talking about?
Well, I'm Allison. I don't own a business.
Yes.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
All right.
I might eventually. So I actually am going to talk about how I went against the grain and made some waves with my family, actually, a little bit because of some decisions that I made. So 2 years ago, I decided, along with my fiance, that after my kids graduated from high school, we were going to move south, just move south. We didn't know where, and that I was going to leave my teaching career because I had done it for 21 years, and things changed a lot after COVID, of course, and I just started to recognize that my beliefs about what worked for kids didn't align with what the district thought would work. And I just knew that I wanted to leave at the top. I wanted to leave when I still loved it. And I didn't want to be like the bitter teacher that stayed to get to retirement. So this was going against the grain, one, because I had 21 years in. And, you know, of course, as a teacher, you've got your retirement and, you know, all of the perks that come along with being a teacher, you know, job security and health insurance and, you know, knowing exactly what your pay is going to be every 2 weeks and summers off. So anyway, we also had built a house and decided that we would sell it when the market was high. And so we did, much to the chagrin of my parents. And I didn't leave teaching until just this past January, actually, because I really thought that I was going to just, you know, find a new career like that because I have all these transferable skills. And so here I am about 18 months into the job search process, and I decided, you know what, I need to go now. And I didn't have anything lined up, but it was time. So my kids went on their dad's insurance. Fortunately, they could go on his health insurance. And as long as they had health insurance to me, I'd figure it out. I always figured it out. So I left. And sadly, a lot of the teachers, you know, my teacher friends, I think sadly, their response was, I'm jealous. I wish I could go, you know, because a couple of years ago it would have been, what do you mean? What are you doing? So the moving away piece has been a little bit of a stumbling block for finding a job because I feel like I need to find something remote so that I can take it with me. I don't want to invest time in a company, and I don't want a company to invest time in me knowing that I'm leaving. And so here I am. So I'm still kind of like riding the wave, you know, against the grain. My family's like, what do you mean you're going to leave us? I've never left Saratoga. I was born and raised here. I graduated from Skidmore. My mom worked there, you know, raised my kids here. And now I felt like they're going off to do their own thing. And so I'm ready to do that too, because I never did it. So yeah. And so actually, I know my time is up, but I just want to say, so Leah and I went to high school together. She graduated a couple years before me, but of course, part of this whole job searching thing was I had to rewrite a resume, figure out how to use LinkedIn. I was never on any sort of social media, and it felt like I was on Facebook trying to make friends with LinkedIn, and it just felt awkward, like, you know, asking to connect with people because I felt like I was making a friend request. And I still don't really understand it, and it's been a really defeating process, actually, trying to find a job, but also learned a lot about myself and, you know, kind of what I think I want to do. But I ended up here today because Leah reached out to me, actually, because her son got his hair cut by my brother, who owns a barbershop in town. And then she reached out to me and was like, oh my gosh, like, what's going on? And then when I started sort of stalking her LinkedIn, found Palette, and a person that I had also reached out to who had a connection for a company that I had applied to had told me about Palette. And so then I started looking at it. And even though I'm like bummed because I don't really I work at Sweet Mimi's, and I work at the Wishing Well right now. So my plan for the summer was to kind of take the job search off my plate and just work. So I'm bummed that I don't have a reason to come and work here. But when I saw the mixer for this month, I was like, oh, you know what? I have to do that. And I had originally been scheduled to work, and the schedule changed. And so I told her, oh, that looks so great. I really wish I could be there. And then my schedule changed. And so I reached out to her, what was it, yesterday or the day before? And I was like, I can come now. So
And
here I am.
Within a couple of minutes of being in the door, Juliana's like teaching.
I'm like, you're an
I
ex
got
teacher
you.
too. Let's go.
Yes.
Like, it's been 5 years since I've been out of the classroom, and it's just like, you ready to actually make like an impact?
Yeah. And so it's so nice to, so I just have to like,
That's so
it's
awesome.
hearing all these stories and just being around everybody is giving me some like renewed sense of hope because I've been feeling super defeated. So, yay.
Wow.
Yeah, no, this
Inspired
is
by you.
definitely where you're supposed to be, because there's so many people here at Palette that have certain assets or knows how to do certain things. Like you're like LinkedIn, I'm like, go talk to LJ. Like all these, you're in good hands.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, there's a Palette member that works at LinkedIn.
oh,
LJ.
cool. All right.
Yeah, exactly. LJ. Yeah. Yeah, LJ. Let's see.
Hi, everyone. I am Brittany Burnham. I am the owner of Power Performance Wellness Recovery, formerly Hit It with Brit. I am the host of the Mom Boss Maximizer podcast. I'm the founder of Guts. And I'm going to talk about going against the grain. So before the pandemic, my business, when it was Hit It with Brit, I had plans on expanding, on scaling the business, potentially franchising. And during that time, I used that to really like go deeper and more intentional of what I want for my future, because we transitioned from a single mom to a bonus mom of 4. Well, I have 2 of my own, and then so 4 altogether. So a lot of things shifted personally with time. And so I rebranded and started designing my beautiful new facility in downtown Albany. And I mean, that was itself going against the grain right there, was rebranding, because I was at my peak. I mean, to be very transparent, my business has not been the same since the pandemic. And from rebranding, people still think we're Hit It with Brit and in a new location. But I put my heart and my soul and everything into this facility. It's 8,000 square feet. I feel like you're in New York City. I was bringing every single thing for everyone. And I began to feel a lot of people pleasing. I was doing things for my community and for my team, as like the rebrand was to give them autonomy. And so I can also step back and have more time freedom and to impact more. But I didn't know what that looked like. So I got into the facility and I'm like, what's next? Why don't I feel this excitement? Why don't I feel fulfilled? So this was last year in 2023. So a year ago, I was in this space and I had this aha moment, like, okay, there's more to me than just being a gym owner. I want to impact more. I want to serve more. And I know that it all starts with the mindset, because what I've been doing is transforming people. That's my gift. My human design is transformation. So I transformed thousands of women with their health and their wellness journey. But now I want to expand that into business, into empowerment. So I had that aha moment of, okay, Mom Boss Maximizer. And in that time, because Maximizer is my number 1 strength for, and Clifton Strength Finder. Yeah, girl. You know what that is? Yes. So the Maximizer is finding potential in others and using their strengths. So, that's when then I tore my Achilles, and then we were in a very big custody battle. So a lot of personal things happened. So in the past year has been a very big identity shift, because I am trying to dive deep 100% into building this new community, building this business. And still what has suffered has been my family, my business, my current business. So it's hard with trying to find this blend. I don't believe in balance. And going against the grain, I hear all the time is like, you've changed. And instead of being like, what? I'm just like, thank you. That's it. Yeah. Thank you. I have changed, and I hope you change too. And I hope you're growing, and I hope you're finding, just like this newness in yourself, and this the version of you that you want to embody. So that has been very difficult for this transition and going against the grain, because people looked at me at my peak of Hit It with Brit, and that was my identity for so long. And I'm just like, no, I'm no longer gonna be called Hit It with Brit. I'm Brittany Burnham, and I'm here to do more and give more, and I'm worth that. So that is the message I'm trying to give to more women, and continue to go against this grain, and to be able to serve more women on this path that's that we're navigating such beautiful chaos, and that's what I call the motherhood and entrepreneurship. So, so we're still in building stages, and I'm like just proud, and I have to celebrate more. I don't want to stay the same. I don't want to play small anymore, and that's like I always tell, if like the message I'm giving to other women is to stop playing small and to shatter that ceiling, or feel like I'm like peeking over the lid, like I'm ready to like jump out, and it's just some other things that are holding me back, all these limiting beliefs, and that's where the message I'm giving to others, I have to take that for myself. So thanks, babe.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniela Sampson. I am slowly starting a side business, but right now I'm a full-time corporate girly. But really, I kind of want to talk about embracing the storm, because sometimes it's going to lead you exactly to where you're meant to be. So I was the youngest of 4, and that made me the wild child, right? I could never do what everyone else was doing. And then I got pregnant at 21. So here I was, pregnant, alone, living at home, didn't finish college, didn't have a significant other. So I was on a little bit of a hot seat. And I kind of had to make a decision of who I wanted to be and how I wanted to step into my life, because I hadn't owned up to who I was and who I wanted to be. And so once I found out it was a girl, I was like, oh God, okay, now who do I want to be for her? And what I realized is I want to be the kind of person that she sees, like, mommy goes after it. And like whatever she wants to do, like whatever I want to do, I can do that. And so at that point I made a decision, and I was like, everything I do now, she's going to look at. So I stopped the toxic relationships. I got my degree, and it was hard. I was pregnant getting a degree. That wasn't fun. That felt judged. I went after my goals, and I unapologetically showed up every day. And so I got the job. I moved up. I kept going. And then I was hit with, career mom. That's not fun, right? We get the guilt, and how do you balance everything? Like you said, is there balance? And so I was constantly met with that. But it always reminded me, when I looked back and I looked at my daughter, is like, how do I want her to go after it? And so I kept climbing and kept going. And then after my third child, who's now 1, my chunky roly-poly Roman, I was hit again with severe postpartum depression. And I was like, okay, so now it's like, okay, I was hit with a storm. I thought we got through this. It put me on a good direction. Now I have a path, right? I got hit again. And I was like, there's got to be another way. And instead of using it as something that was going to drown me, I'm like, I'm going to work through this and go towards something better. And so that's where I'm founding a company that's helping with different elixirs for women's mental health, because I want more access for women. And not just that, I want to open up the conversation, right? We all go through so much. And so I think I wasn't even planning to come up here today. I think the main thing I want to get across is you're going to hit so many obstacles in your life. Whether it's a big move, whether it's a job shift, whether it's a layoff, whether it's getting pregnant unexpectedly. And you have the option to figure out how to turn that into an amazing opportunity and own it in your life to turn it into something amazing. So embrace the storm. I have found in the hardest pieces of my life, even last October, postpartum, called my OB and was like, I'm crying on my bed, like, oh, I need help. They said they couldn't see me for 2 weeks. I was like, I'm going to die. So I took it. I grabbed myself out of it, which a lot of people don't always have the ability to, but just there's so much greatness on the other side. Trust the path, trust the storm. And it leads to absolutely phenomenal things.
I am Christina Farinacci Roberts. I am the founder and chief catalyst officer of Head, Heart, Hands Consulting. And I am one of those people who has had a 5-year plan since I was 5 years old. I'm the child of a Korean immigrant tiger mom. And so just always had that immigrant work ethic, instilled in me. And so I actually became a principal fairly young. I was one of the youngest New York City high school principals. I got the keys when I was 27 years old, almost 28. And prior to that, I got married very young. I actually went to Korea right after undergrad, said I'm not going to date. I'm not going to date, period. But if I do date, I'm definitely not dating a Korean guy, and I'm definitely not dating a guy from the military. And I wound up marrying a Korean adoptee in the U.S. Army. And that whole story could literally be a Korean drama, but we don't have time for that. So I'm going to fast forward. I am married. He actually went to Iraq for a year, and that was kind of like the beginning of the end. The whole year that he was over there, I was finishing my master's, teaching full time, like spending like $1,000 a month on phone cards to just like get him through that process. And like when he came back, it was like, I felt almost like a widow. Like I felt like the person I had married had just like disappeared. But, you know, I'm also a super Jesus lover. So I'm like, gotta, you know, carry this marriage. I gotta carry him, doing all these things. And for a few years, like it just was continuing to like decline. He actually went to FIT and was in one of the 3 straight guys in the menswear design program. And he like, that's how he threw himself into, like, I think his coping mechanism was like, I'm gonna go hard. They started a business while they were in school. So we were kind of almost like 2 ships passing in the night. And I'm, you know, I wound up actually getting into my principal program, doing this thing. And I'm like about to be graduating, you know, within the next however many months. But December of 2007 comes around, and I'm that person who, like, when December comes, I am reflecting on the year past. I'm thinking about the year going forward. And I had in my mind in March of 2008 was when we would start trying to have kids. Yeah, like literally March of 2008. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I can't try to have a kid with this person like in 3 months from now. Like this is a disaster. So I'm going through this whole like existential crisis of faith because I'm like, I think I'm about to tell him like, I can't keep doing this. And so I basically say, listen, like we cannot continue like this. Either like we need to go to some sort of counseling or like I'm out. And I'm sorry, I'm going to try to wrap it up. But so he at first like is like, I can't do that. And I was like, well then I can't do this. So then he's like, okay, I'll try. And you know, we tried, but like he wasn't really trying. And at one point the therapist is like, you need therapy for yourself. And even if this doesn't work out, like, you know, you need to do it. And he refused. And so that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. And I mean, I was crushed. And the reason why I was so crushed is because everything else in my life was amazing. Like I was about to become a principal. I had just bought my apartment. And when I say I mean I, capital I, like my blood, sweat, and tears, money that like, cause he wasn't, you know, really making money at that point. But yeah. And like everything with friends and just everything is perfect. Everything that I could control was perfect. And then I had this relationship that was not perfect. And I felt so much shame and so much guilt when I like ultimately like had to walk away. And I remember just like being on my knees one night and like just like praying to God, like I completely surrender. And like not like white flag surrender, like surrender like I am like open to whatever it is that you have for me. And like had that moment of like so much of my identity was wrapped in all of the accomplishments, and even I think in the relational things like being married and you know whatever, and we were perfect on paper like when we first got together, like our backgrounds and everything. And so it just felt like a lot to let go of not attaching my ultimate identity or worth to something outside of what I now say is like your ultimate identity is just that you're a child of God, that like you literally are this unique combination of lived experiences and learned expertise and just like your legit essence. And there's no other person like you on the planet. And it's like positioning yourself to know that everything that makes you you and every flaw and every mistake is a way to position you to do something that nobody else can do or make an impact or inspire in a way that nobody else. Because if I had my perfect little story, like I wouldn't be able to touch and move and, you know, inspire those other people. And I think that ultimately part of like, I guess where it connects back to the business is like my whole solarized leadership model is based on this idea that, you know, it is your personal essence and your professional experience, like marrying those two, that allows you to like really be who you're called to be and do what you're called to do and just, you know, live this life. And now I'm married to a person that is not we are not great on paper at all. We are exactly the exact opposite. I would not have not picked his resume up in the pile. It would have gone all the way over here. But like, that's also part of the humility in everything, is like, it's not what you think it's supposed to be. It's like just letting it be. And actually, I'll just end on this too, because this is like my big thing about marriage. Like, I truly believe that marriage, the purpose of it, it's not to make you happy, it's to make you holy. And it's not that those things are mutually exclusive, but a marriage puts you, like, you're making a commitment to a flawed individual as a flawed individual to like keep doing this thing called life together. And I think in my first marriage, I tried to do, like, I was trying to do everything and like make things happen, or being resentful about things that he wasn't doing. And like, going into my second marriage, like, it's me and God first, and then like whatever I'm not getting from him, or it's like I can give him the space to become that thing, because I'm not depending on him to be things for me. Like, I think we all have like a God-sized shaped hole in our heart that it's that disordering of loves. Like, if you try to make your husband or your kids or your job, like, they can be up to here, but like, it can't be the ultimate thing, because it's not meant to be the ultimate thing. So yeah, that's it. That was long. Sorry. This is our final talk.
No pressure.
Hannah, which one end?
No pressure. Hi, everybody. I'm Hannah Smith. Yes, Hannah with one N. And I am a multi-hyphenate committed to transforming the way that we work, as well as helping people redefine their relationship with work and advancing equity and transparency in the workplace. And for, I would say, about 15 years, roughly prior to this point, I do work for myself now. I'm a consultant, I'm an author, I'm a speaker. But prior to that, I did public relations for social justice movements. And I absolutely loved the work that I did. However, I did not have a healthy relationship with work. In the order of things, work always came first for me. It was work, my husband, my family, my friends, and then somewhere in there, maybe I'd find some time for myself. And that was a hard truth that I didn't really realize until about 2018. As you've mentioned here, things were looking really perfect on paper. I had what appeared to be a dream job. I had climbed the heck out of the corporate ladder. Very proud of myself for that, but still. But it wasn't until 2018 when, in the matter of 3 months, 3 people that I love dearly passed away. And I found myself really battling with the grief that kept coming up at just random moments in my life, probably because I wasn't giving it any space. I just kept going. And there I was, April 2018, folding my laundry, of all things. Folding my laundry, trying to just get stuff together for the week, because it's Sunday, it's laundry day, it's meal planning day, whatever. Like, just try to get ahead of the week, try to control what I could to make it good. And I'm sitting there folding, and I start to cry. And then it just completely overwhelmed. I sit on the bed. Maybe I can keep folding. No, I have to sit on the floor. I have to sit on the floor to feel something so solid under me, because there are sounds that my body is making that aren't even human. I don't recognize these sounds that are coming out of me because I am so sad and overwhelmed. And in that moment, even though there's all these, crying, sad noise, what have you, the only thing I could really hear in my head was this voice that screamed at me, if you die tomorrow, you will die with regret. And in that moment, it shook me. I knew that I absolutely had to make changes with the way that not only was I ordering things in my life, but the way that I paid paid attention to myself. And that was the wave that crashed over me.
And that's the way that crashed over me.
My name's Lonnie Lee. I'm currently in between jobs, so hi. Hey, girl. Hey. Yeah, so I would say, I'm going to try and keep it short so I don't like have like a, but no, my voice actually, so I don't know if it's stress related or what, it's kind of started like going away in October. I think mine is more of like the whole, I liked the wave conversation. I think I came to Palette last month and was just like, these are really cool. I really enjoy this pro talk, so you'll be back. But yeah, no, I am not a Palette member. I met Catherine and Marcella through happenstance, through dating the wrong person. And we had like moseyed on in. I was like, I've always wanted to check this place out, and it was really cool. So basically, October, my voice has been starting to like go away. Did not love my job in any capacity, like loved it. But like, I think during COVID and all of the BLM movement stuff, like I was like noticing a lot of stuff that I didn't really appreciate. And then I was trying to like make a space there for it to make sense. Right. So the monk, the year of the monk, it's been a journey. So in November, like I started getting more involved with a lot of things community related, because that's something that like I'm passionate about. I know Christina from Women United, which has been awesome. I dance. I'm a part of Knocker Dance Group. I'm a part of Ronald McDonald House Board. I'm a part of like a lot of things that I'm very excited about, right? And that two places for me is just like the romantic and the career space. I'm just like, I don't love it. In November, my brother passed. I actually had a really good weekend this weekend that kind of ties into everything. So she left, but finding my brookie, little waves. Had a really good weekend. So one of my girlfriends, very dear friend, best friend from college and sister, we had an amazing weekend, but it was one of those like not amazing, like, oh my God, we should do that again. I definitely don't want to like cry my eyes out another weekend. But all that to say, like, her father passed in May, end of May, beginning of May. And it's one of those things where we are all living through life and like having our experiences, and like you think things are fine, and then all of a sudden like something crazy happens. And it was like a series of unfortunate events. He was at a hospital. My brother's was like super sudden. Hers was also sudden. Not like a trauma bond we'd love to share. We've got plenty of other stuff. But we basically, this weekend, we kind of were talking about a bunch of stuff, and the conversation ended with, I guess you could call the crash into the wave, right? The breakthrough of, what is it that like we're missing, and just like having a lot of open conversations. And the past year I've been doing a lot of check-ins with myself, which is how I got here. So I would say that's it. Just like taking a minute and checking in with yourself, have a little breakdown in front of strangers. But it's really just it's really just trying to like, I guess, ride the wave now. And like, I'm in between jobs because of like a 3-part merger journey, but it was kind of like no, you needed a minute. You like keep going and you just need a minute. So here I am taking my minute and doing things that like I am excited about, like meeting new people and finding out where you get your hair done, or if you do your hair yourself, and and hearing women's stories and being able to be like, okay, like, I think at the last one, it was just like, you're not an alien. It's just like, maybe we all are little aliens. Yeah. But like, the biggest thing is just like, you're not so unique that like there isn't a story that you have that isn't shared in some capacity. So that is my wave, and I'm currently riding it. So thank you for the push. And that's it. That's all she wrote.
Hi, everyone. My name is Leanne Molino, and I am the owner of Yoga with Leanne, which is about to go through a rebranding, but that's what it is right now. I'm going to talk really quickly about the idea of identity and how breaking waves within myself. So when I was born with a brain disease called hydrocephalus. And so I have hardware in my head and have had a couple brain surgeries. But I say that because I also have an identical twin who does not have this condition. So I always had this like kind of a mirror into something that I could also potentially see as like a normal baseline of like what can I do in my life that isn't defined by this illness, because I was kind of encapsulated by my parents. They were worried, can't hit my head, so I'm not doing sports, so I'm not active, so I'm not moving. So I had a lot of confidence issues growing up, on top of being super bullied throughout school, because I was like your stereotypical like high waters Asian nerd, would skip recess to go to the library to read books. And so I graduated high school. I went to the George Washington University in DC, and I had like a huge mental breakdown like right before I graduated, where I realized like, oh no, the economy at that point and the job market was really starting to crash, and it was like at the point where like the people who had graduated before were like getting jobs, and then we were not getting jobs. So I had this moment where like I had thought, oh, I'm gonna, be a super cool corporate person. I'm gonna work in marketing or advertising. I'm gonna be like the Mad Men people. And then suddenly I was like, no, I know that I'm not doing that. And then I had this like huge identity crisis, because I was like, will I be nobody? Am I nobody? Who am I without this dream or this goal? I had to drop like a bunch of a semester of classes, so I ended up just doing it over the summer. And then was unemployed for a year after that, and then decided to move to Boston where my twin lives, and I got a job. So working corporate, I was marketing research executive, which just basically means like you're in the pre-sales cycle. So, summary of that was that it was really boring and it kind of sucked the life out of me, but the whole team, we were having our lives sucked out of ourselves together. So it was kind of nice. But at one point I had a medication change that really like pushed me over the edge, and I was like, I gotta leave, because I'm not even going to work. I'm just staying in bed all day. So then I had the opportunity to go to something that I had been thinking about for a million years, which was yoga teacher training. I had at that point been practicing yoga for about 15 years, because I had started doing meditation in elementary school to self-regulate. One of the things that happens when you have brain surgery is that you can't really self-regulate. Anyway, so the first time I'm teaching a class, I'm just like, I say 2 words, like inhale, lift, and then inhale, lift what? And I'm just crying. And I had never led anyone before. I had never really thought of myself as a leader. Even in my friends group, I was like voluntarily the under person. I was like, if someone else wants to lead, that's great, because that's definitely what I don't want to do. So this really pushed me to be in front of a room and speak, which I had never really been able to do. I had to be on literal drugs to do that, which I'm not on right now. So I had a traumatic incident happen in Boston right in the middle of me taking this yoga teacher training, which forced me to leave and move to Virginia, which is where my dad was, to be a little bit closer to family, find some stability. I graduated yoga teacher training. I start working for a couple people, and then suddenly I'm realizing like, I can't do this. Like, there's a lot of toxic mindset in owning a business, turns out. Like, it's really scary. You get really like closed-minded, because you have to succeed, and if someone else is succeeding next to you, that means you're failing. So there's a lot of like toxic mindset and toxic business practices in small business ownership, which is something that I decided that I wanted to change. So somehow that resulted in me being a business owner. So I started my business. I'm like, will I become the thing that I don't want to be? And so I challenged myself. I was like, I'm going to go talk to other business owners. And that resulted in me getting shunned. Like, they didn't want to sit for coffee. They didn't want to tell me anything about what they were doing. I would tell other people what I was doing. They would take that and use that. And I was like, am I offended? I don't know. But essentially what it became was that I spent like about 5 years of that business just like meeting people and meeting other yoga teachers. I realized that the industry doesn't define me, that it's really all about the community. So I started branching out, built a really successful business over 7.5 years, won an award, built a small team, paid very competitively, even though I'm definitely not the biggest yoga studio in that area. And then I found love and he's in the Navy, so I moved here, and now I'm back to anonymity. So right now I'm in a place where I've like created this huge thing, I've relinquished that huge thing, and I've become small again, and I kind of like it. It's like, who can I be now? So I'm in this place where like I have willingly let go of who I am to refine who I'm supposed to be in this new place. And so that's actually what brought me to Palette. So thank you for listening.
This far exceeded our wildest dreams. And so thank you all for being so generous and sharing and
volunteering, because I had like popsicle sticks when we were going to pull numbers.
So we're going to do this.
This is what I used to do with my 8th graders. Like, I mean, we were going to let you pass, of course, but y'all shared. This is incredible.
And Bright-Sided, thank you so much for being here, and especially as long as you have. We're gonna wrap it up, but there's snacks, and also if you want to make any kind of contribution to the pool of resource that will make it possible for us to produce these, please do. If you or your business wants to sponsor the whole episode like Helen did, there's also an opportunity to do that right here. Or talk to Christine.
Be like Helen.
And we can just lift each other up and tell each other's stories. And so thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
Thank you so much for listening to these stories. And if you would like to create a Pro Talk or learn more about the Palette community, come on down on the internet to paletecommunity.com.